So hello everybody, welcome back for another booktube video. It's been a while. I've done reading and kind of stopped reading for a while. I think I brought new content in for everybody, so I brought some new content. So for you guys, I just recently uploaded my guide to playwrights video of Alison McDowell. Really great research. I love researching that guy. And I'm actually going to start reading one of his plays called The Glow, which is a play that he was going to do for before the pandemic happened. So I got my vlog videos to edit tonight, but first my booktube ones. So got a little bit of ones coming up today, tonight, and then of course I'm going to be filming throughout tonight and everything else, so I can show you guys what I've been doing after I finish my life with education. As I finished with uni, I've finished with uni and education all together, and I'm here to explore with you guys what I've been up to. Of course, I got graduation. There will be a graduation vlog coming up really soon, but first of all, let's get into today's video. So I briefly mentioned this in the Alison McDowell that I am doing some book wrap-ups. So each in the month, starting sort of today, and then I'm hoping to do more reading in between and everything else, because I'm trying to get back into this brand new lifestyle. So I'm going to be doing a lot of reading as well. So let's crack on with the next book. Now, about when I started MA, there was a female writer that I knew nothing about to a book I knew nothing about. The book is called that I read is called It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. So I never knew anything about Colleen Hoover. I think everyone knew who she was if you own an account called TikTok, which they are quite good. I actually use a lot of TikTok books, books that TikTok made me, or I've seen it on TikTok and everything else, and sometimes I ignored them because they're YA. Some of them are focused on YA and some of them are actual real books. And Instagram, Bookstagram, but BookTube is the only best place because you get the full intent of what books I'm going to read. So I actually got a whole collection of books I'm going to read, but I'm not going to do a TBR just yet. I might do a TBR on the first day of the new year, which is New Year's Day, which I will be dedicating myself into reading every single day. So to the books. So I have been doing a lot of research of this. Who's this writer, Colleen Hoover? What would she appeal for me? And she wrote a prolific amount of books way before TikTok erupted her. She has even just released a book this year, and I kind of want to read that one as well. At around that time, she has released so many books. I even got a couple of her on my Kindle, which I'm going to start reading soon. And I got a friend of mine actually said, "You read so many books. Have you ever read, I bet you read Colleen Hoover?" And I said, "No, not really." And her response was like, "Man, get with it." And I was like, totally what she stands. And another friend of mine gave me a book for free, and that book, It Ends With Us, and it actually starts with a series, sort of a series. There's only 2 books in the series that she did, and the new one's called It Starts With Us, and I got this book called It Ends With Us, and I was a little bit confused. It Ends With Us, It Starts With Us, which one to read? And the first book is called It Ends With Us. So I gave that book a read when I was on my first week of my holiday in Spain, and I thought, I heard so many negatives. How would that appeal for me? And I was all in. It was her writing style is so good. Like, I really like how she structure her stories. It's like Alice McDowell, how he structure his stories and plays with format quite a bit in his work, and so is another playwright I kind of done as well today. It's same like with Colleen Hoover. I really do like Colleen Hoover's books now, because I actually just read 2 of her books this summer, so I'm finally back on track with her reading. So I read It Ends With Us. I really enjoyed her style. The story, I didn't enjoy it as much. I'll tell you what the story is all about. Basically, the story is focused on a young woman who got out of an abusive relationship with her previous husband, and then she was at her father's funeral when she witnessed a man kicking around and a few things, few chairs and all sorts, and she started a relationship with him. And then she actually talks about her father, who is also abusive man as well to her mum, and the funeral was more a relief to her because she been through a relationship with with her husband who non-stop abusing her. And that book takes on a narrative of using Ellen, who is Ellen DeGeneres, and we all know who she was, who was disrespectful to her fans. Not just to her fans, she loves her fans very much. It's just her staff, her guests. Sometimes she was a bit rude to some of her guests, especially to Dakota Johnson, to where she had a go at her for not inviting Ellen to her birthday. I'm like, sorry, if you're rude to your guests, you will never be invited. If someone was rude to me, you will never be invited to my party. So it's simple as that. So anyway, I just thought I heard something, but it was in the kitchen. We're just having dinner really quickly. So I thought that was a really good narrative and explores the different realms. So she used writing letters to Ellen DeGeneres as the way of coping from the past that she went through. I kind of enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy. I thought the story could have been less sunshine and rainbows a little bit. There was a little bit of sunshine and rainbows in it, and I thought if you're dealing with a sensitive topic, you should never do things like that, ever. Never ever do a thing like that. And I kind of disagree with her in that way, but I don't, like, again, it's been quite some time ago and I couldn't really remember, but I'm making a start as a first welcome back to my book channel video. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I love the writing style. It's really, really, really addictive, but I didn't really enjoy the story. The story wasn't for me. It's not for me. Now, another friend of mine introduced me into a book which was recently turned into a movie, and the movie didn't have good reviews according to her. It has good reviews as well, but my friend said to me this, don't even bother watching the movie. The movie's terrible. It doesn't follow to the book as it should be. And the book is called, Bones and All. And I could not remember what the author's name, and I know that sounds really unprofessional, but I couldn't really pronounce her name. The book takes place on a young woman called Mari, who has an obsession, especially from early childhood, of her eating people. Basically a cannibal. So she actually talked through her life that she ate somebody in the woods. She ate her own babysitter when she was really, really young, and it was started when she was a young child, and then leading up when she was a teenager. And then she, in the book, I think, because I've seen bits of the movie, she bit her friend's finger off. But in the movie, she didn't really bit her friend's finger off. She just ripped the whole skin, and you just see the bone and a bit of the skin falling off. It's just, but then she was told to go on an adventure by her mother to go find her father, who is in an old people's home. Well, not an old people's home. He was in a home for something, and then she met a wonderful man who is also a cannibal himself, called Lee, who in the book she also ate the guys that that he was harassing, Marin, and then she met Lee. But in the film version, he ate the guy. So yeah, and the film was I really want to try and watch that movie again. I only stopped to the point where she left Sully, but I really want to watch it again because it has an excellent cast. Taylor Russell, who plays the main character, I love Taylor Russell. I love her in Escape Rooms 1, because I haven't watched Escape Rooms 2, but I really enjoyed Taylor Russell is acting. I knew she's performing. I know she's performing in a play, a revival play at the National Theatre of The Effect, which is written by Lucy Prebble. I read the play. I really loved the play. I have seen the play before in a student production, so I know what the story intake, and also studied Lucy Prebble in the past. And Lucy Prebble is such a good playwright. I'm going to try and do a guide to playwright. She hasn't written much plays in her time, but I will try my best to research her. But she mainly does TV shows and everything. But, you know, anyway, Taylor Russell is in an adaptation of it, and it's performing at the National Theatre, I think. I think it's in the Old Vic. I'm unsure. And then my favourite actor of all time, Timothée Chalamet, played Lee. Fantastic actor. He's one of my absolute favourite actors of all time. I love his approach into character work. I love his ideas into character work. And my favourite film he's done of all time is got to be The King, where he plays Henry V or Henry VIII, and he played that character to perfection. Even learned a British accent into that role, which I would say a lot of Americans struggle with that most importantly, but he learned it perfectionly. Really, really great actor. I'm not saying that all American actors can't do a British accent. There's a lot of good British actors out there. American actors can do an amazing American accent. Like even one of our British actors, Jodie Comer, who learned so many languages for one TV show of Killing Eve, and she's just phenomenal. I love Jodie Comer so much. And also, of course, one of my favourite actors of all time, Mark Rylance, who played Sully. I have watched bits of what he is, and he fits the description of the character that I see in the book. He did it really, really well, and very interesting as well. Like how he did it, it was really, really good. And like, I feel like I'm watching Sully from exactly what he does in the book, and how he speaks in the book, because in the book he does collect hairs from his victims, so he knows that this line of straw of hair is actually from his victims. So yeah, he collects hairs from his victims and then keeps them for life as a reminder of who he ate. He doesn't kill them. He never kills them. He just, what Sully does, he waits until they slowly decease, mainly through old age or a disease, and once they died peacefully, then he eats them. But with Marin and Lee, they just kill people and then eat their bodies straight away. Very, very I absolutely enjoy the book. I really enjoyed the book, and I really want to carry on watching the movie and get started with the movie because I really love Timothy Chalamet. One of my favourite films he actually done so far is actually Dune, which he played Paul perfectly. And I was just like, oh my god, he played that character really well. And I can't wait for part two. I really can't wait for part two. I'm going to watch part one because when I went to see it in cinemas, I had a friend of mine who's struggling to move out, and I was watching the movie and helping my friend, watching the movie, helping my friend at the same time, and it was a nightmare. But I managed to help her and everything else, so I'm going to watch the movie again because Zendaya is one of my absolute favourite actresses of all time, and the battle scenes, fantastic to watch, really fantastic to watch. And then after reading Bones and All, I had a bit of a break. No, in fact, I was meant to binge read a load of books on my Kindle, and then I kind of stopped. I was reading because the problem was it was a heat wave, and I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't even watch TV. I was doing my masters at the same time, and the heat wave got so bad it actually delayed my timing to do my uni work, and it delayed parts of my timing. Thankfully, I was on 2,000 words into my practices research when I was on holiday, so I had a bit of a break from my critical reflection and also my aptation. And it was so hot to the point that my dad went into hospital, and I struggled to read. I was literally could not read physically with the heat. I always love reading when I go away on holiday, but this time it was a struggle. It was a real big struggle. But we managed to get through out of the dark and everything else. And since we come back to the UK, I've just been so busy, and I got laid off reading for a while. And it was not really me until I went to All Points East Festival to see Dermot Kennedy again, and Olivia Dean, Aurora, and another great band that I really like called Nova Amor. Nova Amor, another great band, fantastic band. Anchor is a really great song. So I picked out this book, and I thought that will be, because I was catching the bus, it was a 3-hour bus journey to London, which I want to kill off a little bit of time before I get to London. And I stumbled across a book, another book, and I thought, let's read another Clean Hoover on the train, on the bus, because I do like her writing. I really enjoyed it. This book has to be my most favourite Colleen Hoover book, and it's called Verity, and it's a #1 bestseller on the list. I absolutely enjoyed this book, and I just thought this book alone was just so fantastic. It was so gripping. The book takes place on a young author called Lowen Ashley, who is a struggling writer, and then she'd been called up to finish off a series by Verity Crawford. And what happened, what it led from there, it basically led on Verity, who was in a horrific car crash, and been told to come in and finish Verity's book series that she's done. And then Loden, but her name is Lo, came across to a book, a manuscript of her autobiography. And she gave it a read and see what it is and everything else, because Verity was going to expose it anyway. And then she knows some dark secrets from the start of the autobiography to the very end. and it takes it from there. When I was reading it, I was so gripped by the story. I felt like this is now what I really enjoy better. I love this book. It's so addictive. It's so gripping, and the cover is fantastic. It has a better representation and good connective with the story. I really enjoyed it, and some of you may hate Colleen Hoover. I think she's great. I think she's a great writer, and I think she's fantastic in her own simple way, and I really enjoyed her. And this one of my absolute favourite books of all time. It's just so gripping. I even like gave this book to my mum, and I said to her, please read Colleen Hoover. I think you will love her. And Colleen Hoover is just a fantastic author, and I'm going to actually make a start with another Colleen Hoover for a long time. I've got some other physical books that I'm going to start throwing away, but it's going to be a hard one because I'm 6 knuckles of letting things go, especially with book reading. So this one, best read, and that's what I got so far. I know it's a very short free books, but you know, I'm trying to make it longer and everything else, and hopefully I got a new stack of books when we reach to the end of September with another book I'm currently reading, and I might try and finish it off tonight. It's but I'm going to finish off this weekend. I'm going to try to, you know, and all that. And I just want to say a massive thank you for watching. Make sure you follow me on Goodreads and Fable. There's a link down below of my book club. You will catch up with all the books I'm going to be reading. So if you got Fable, follow me on there. Follow me on Goodreads. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it to your friends. And I hope to see you in the next video. Possibly a music video or another vlog. And I hope to see you really, really soon. Stay in tune. Bye.